of Escaping Leah. If you haven't gotten this book yet, if you haven't acquired the book yet, you should get it at exposingcrimes.com. Anyway, this will be an overview of Chapter 16, Leah's Tabloid Adventure, the Paula Haggis edition. So, you can tell when someone is desperate. They reach out to failed actors and actresses, criminals, admitted perjurers, con artists, wife beaters. I can just feel the validity. Paula Haggis is one of a kind. He robbed Scientologists of their money, time, life, resources, and connections, and of their sanity. He actually confesses that he's a selfish prick. This is what he says. I'm a selfish prick. Paul Haggis. He said that on TV. Pretty hilarious. Haggis used Scientologists in the entertainment and business industries to get quote-unquote investments. And to his failed projects, he would later default on these projects and pocket the cash. His own sister used to work with him on his projects, and when she caught him on illegal dealings, he'd hurt her physically and mentally. Otherwise, in other words, he's a coward. This is what she has to say. By the way, bless her heart, she passed on recently, and he took her life away from her, basically. Paul was never a Scientologist. Since the beginning, he was never a Scientologist. Paul hung around the outskirts of Scientology, the fringe of Scientology. He used our church. He's used our humanitarian efforts in order to glorify himself and in order to build his career. Kathy Haggis, sister. It has been verified that Paul wasn't a Scientologist. Through his actions, Scientologists who invested in him and those who tried to offer him some help, he always used Scientologists and never helped them. This is what Paul's sister also has to say. Paul got his first job through Scientologists. Paul came and hung out at our celebrity center, where there were writers who were already working. A very dear friend of mine gave Paul his first job. I was there. I heard the first conversations at the time of Paul very cleverly wheedling his way into a job so that he could get onto a primetime show. Once Paul got out of that primetime show, he managed to find a clever way to dump that writer and move on to another television series and get a solo credit. Kathy Haggis' sister. So you can see how that is pretty screwed up. Haggis isn't a legitimate source of information about Scientology. Haggis is a good source for conning, criminality, fraud, and brainwashing. That is what he's good for. Haggis should become a psychiatrist, except then he'd have to listen. Well, at least he could get on board with the outcome with that big money. I also wanted to comment on this. Again, this is not a view of the church at all. Okay? This is a view of this book. Okay? Leah and Mike have been slamming Danny Masterson for his accusations. They haven't been silenced. And Danny has only addressed them privately to vet them and to understand how to correct what may or may not have happened. This is between Danny and the complainant. What about Haggis? The accusations made about Haggis have been fought and have been attempted to be silenced by Haggis in courts. He has tried to silence those speaking out against him with defamation lawsuits. That's how sickening this guy really is. He doesn't even have the balls to confront what he's done. When the allegations started, Haggis started resigning from charitable organizations he was using for publicity, contracts that he was part of, and even people who he was connected with for utilization of their connections and popularity. One actually spoke out against him anonymously to dispel his rumor line in regards to stating that they were sent by Scientology, quote unquote. If this were true, Scientology would have stopped them by now. Plus, why would they send people to make false allegations of rape and sexual harassment? Doesn't seem at all true. It's just another cover-up by Haggis and the anti-Scientology cult. Haggis is dreaming up things to deflect. He needs to stop silencing victims. This is a victim that spoke towards the Hollywood Reporter about what's going on. It says, I have no connection to Scientology or its practitioners. For those people, including actress Leah Remini, who have stated publicly that all of Haggis's accusers are part of a Scientology conspiracy. Shame on you. Is it now the time to be listening to your sisters? Such baseless statements attempt to silence all of us and the entire #MeToo movement. Victim, The Hollywood Reporter. This is another one. Survivors of sexual violence need their day in court. And that's what's so important about this case. The lower court said yes, survivors do get their day in court. And now the defendant, again, is trying to assert Paul Haggis's, control and dominance to silence her. We are proud to sign on to this alongside so many important organizations fighting for justice. Carrie Goldberg, owner of Victims' Rights Law. Firm C.A. Goldberg, PLLC. So there we go. See? So a law firm signing on, as well as many other organizations. No, they're not all Scientologists. I don't even think any of them are, actually. Because he wasn't really around Scientology. So how would they be Scientologists? Also, I wanted to mention that if we did half of the stuff that Paul, if any Scientologist did half of the stuff that Paul was doing, we'd be all slandered on the media, right? Where's that now? Right? Paul is a criminal and a con man, and he even said he's a selfish prick, and he also said he's a cynical bastard, right? And he's mentioned many other things. He's also admitted many other things publicly. And now we're trying to defend him. I'm not really sure where this is coming from, but I have to say, my viewpoint on the Me Too movement should be that they are respected and listened to and given their day in court. And if the facts, and the facts and the evidence all link up, then the person should, of course, based on what the judge and the jury have to decide. Pretty sure if they all line up, the judge and the jury would decide that the person's guilty. But of course, you're innocent until proven guilty. So I hope one day these fine beings get to go up in court and go ahead and share their story and speak out, and given their chance to speak out against this person, because apparently everybody else had been able to do that with Danny Masterson, but not Paul Haggis for some reason. So there you go, guys. That's my take on it. That's the chapter. That was chapter 16. If you don't have your copy yet of Escaping Leah, get it at exposingcrimes.com. Thanks so much, and let's go on to chapter 17 next.